Here's what happened. At my parents' place, there's a garage that's separate from the house, and on the second floor of the garage, there's an attic up there where there's a bunch of stuff up there that's just been sitting there for years. And every time I go up there, I always see a parakeet cage that's there. And I believe my dad says something like, "Oh, well, what if you are going to need like whatever? What if you get parakeets, or like you might need this for something?" And I think the last time there were parakeets at the house was over 10 years ago. And as a kid, like they were super cute. Like if you ever had parakeets, like, they're cute as a kid, but as an adult, I can only imagine of having to deal with the amount of shit that parakeets literally produce in the cages, to the noises that they make, the squeaky noises. Like I'd be annoyed. So like for me, I gotta give props to my parents for letting us have parakeets. But I see this cage and it's just sitting there collecting dust. And I'm thinking to myself, man, like this stuff, it can feel heavy. All this stuff, all this clutter in your life. And for me, I experienced the clutter. What I want to say with this is that one, it's not your fault if you're dealing with clutter right now. And if you're dealing with the what ifs, right? Because similar to my dad saying that, it's like, what if I need this for this unique situation that may or may not happen, that may be 1 in 1,000% chance of happening, but because there's a potential chance of it happening, I'm going to keep it. Right? That's like the thoughts that we can create in our minds of like why we got to keep all this stuff. But what happens is, like it did for me, and it might be doing that for you if you clicked on this, is that it becomes a heavy burden where you feel stuck and you feel like you can't get out of this thing. And what I want to remind you of is that you absolutely are capable to work through the clutter and to be able to let go. It's going to take some time. It's going to take absolutely some patience from you. And it's going to take some faith that you can do this. But what I want to tell you is that it is absolutely possible. So I want to get into how to start fresh. This is Make Burnout Extinct. I'm Robert David Weeks. Before getting into it today, I want to say thank you for listening. And if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe and follow the show for the latest episodes. My commitment to you by you doing that is to make this the best show it can be. To focus on growing the show more, to be the best storyteller that I can be, the best researcher for the information that I'm sharing with you, as well as the best interviewer for the questions that I'm asking to the guests that are coming on and sharing their insights, all focused again on this mission of burnout. It fires me up for you to be a part of this movement. I do not take it for granted that you're taking the time to listen to this episode. And so I'm excited for you to dive into it. Today, what I want to jump into is the problem of feeling like you got too much clutter, too much shit is what I just say, like too much shit in your life, both physically and then with all the stuff that could be there, of like clothes is what I think about. Or if you're, think back to all the stuff you kept from middle school or elementary school or high school, just stacks and stacks of stuff. Or it could be digitally, like if that's photos and videos, maybe it's emails for you on the work side or personal side. You got emails or contacts, the contact information of people all across your life, some that you haven't talked to, or, exes that you're like, shit, I should probably delete this stuff. But there's a lot of stuff in our life. And what I want to tell you is, again, from what I said at the beginning, this is not your fault. You may have picked it up somewhere or from someone. For me, I picked up my clutter habit from my dad. And for what I did with stuff is I would assign meaning to it. Like I'd have this deeper meaning of this stuff in my life. But what happened was I kept keeping things that really wasn't something I either cared about or needed anymore, or was really helping me to continue to grow and move towards the vision I have and the who I want to become. So it just caused me to feel then stuck and overwhelmed, and made me indecisive, and caused me to get really tired and exhausted. All of these things that can lead to hitting burnout, going back to that first red flag of burnout, which is chronic exhaustion. So if you're in that similar place where you feel you got a lot of clutter going on, I want to tell you, you're in the right place to dive into this. And what I want to break it down for you is, if you're dealing with the what ifs in your mind, those thought processes of like, okay, what if I do need it for this specific situation that comes up? Or what if my partner is going to need this? Or my future kids are going to need this? Or my siblings, like whoever it is that's coming up for you, like, or whatever reason is coming up for you of keeping the stuff that can be playing on repeat in your mind as you look at all these different things. So I want to let you know that you're again in the right place. What I'm going to break it down for you is habits of how you can start the momentum of decluttering. Going back to the first one of starting small, I always go back to that, start small. And then what I want to share with you is my own experiences of the different areas that I focused in on to declutter. And this could be a great example or inspiration for you to start in your own life for these different areas that you might be dealing with. And I want to connect it back to what's shared here of unlocking your best year, because you may also be like me, where I want to unlock the best year in every single thing in my life all at once. And what happens is when you get into that mindset, and that thought pattern, it then overwhelms you because there's so much different areas of life that you can focus in on, and to be able to make it the best. So when it comes to unlocking your best year, how it can then connect to what area to focus on to declutter to start is what is the first area of life that comes up right away for you. You may have it already, of where you want your best year yet. Is that with your health and fitness? Is that with your relationships? Is that with your career? What is that for that one area that you want to unlock for your best year? I want to make sure you have that before getting started. Okay. I gave you a few seconds here. If you need a few more seconds, pause this thing. Like, take the time. Take the time to reflect on this. Okay, enough of that. Let's get into it. So, what I want to share for the first area of focus for my decluttering journey, it was back during the pandemic. I think it was 2021, maybe, or 2020. I have a video of this. I don't know the date, but I remembered it was like during the wintertime up in Maryland. It was snow. I remember after I did this, I walked out, I had my phone out, and I was recording myself of like how I felt after doing this thing, because it was both exciting and super terrifying. And that was deleting 50,000 emails that had stacked up over the years. I just kept pushing them off and off. Like, it's one of those things where the inbox just grows. And then you're like, all right, I give up. I'm throwing my hands in. I'm just going to look at all the ones I haven't read yet, and I'll go through those. And that's what I did. And so I got my email inbox so cluttered up, where there was like 50,000 emails there. And if you're dealing with also email, if you're dealing with this too for emails, where it is very cluttered, and you had the idea of like, oh, inbox zero would be nice, that'd be great, but it hasn't happened. I want to tell you a few things. One is that inbox zero, it'll never stay like that forever, right? You're always going to get emails coming in. It's a communication. So you got to remember that the goal isn't so much to get to inbox zero permanently, but the goal is to start shrinking the amount of emails that you have. And there are two ways that you can do that. One that is pretty intense, that will get you to inbox zero faster for temporarily. So that could be another thing to think about instead, is like inbox zero will never be permanent. So it's always going to be an ongoing process, because this is how you're communicating, especially if you're using this for work. This is your form of communication, potentially, like your main form of communication. So there's two options I want to break it down for you for how you can declutter your emails. The first one is what I did, which I deleted all 50,000 emails at once. I know. I feel like you have like the deer in the headlights moment of like, wait, what? You could do that? You can do this. But there's a few things to think about before you do that. So that's option one. Or option two is to start small and go through those emails, and decide if you're going to keep them or not. And I'll share with you a little bit later on a process that you could use for that. So I'll circle back to that one. But I want to address option one, right? Because this is how I thought about it in my own life. I was like, all right, shit, I got these 50,000 emails. If it's important and if it's urgent, which would be the only scenario that would make sense for me to want to keep these emails, there's going to be another email that comes my way. Because the thought pattern that was coming up was like, oh shit, what if I missed an important email? Or like, what if I missed something that really could impact my life? Or what if like I missed a bill, an email of them billing me for something, right? Like all these different scenarios that could come up. If it's important and if it's urgent, I'm going to get another email. Makes sense. So then it's like, okay, well, let me just delete them all and see what happens. And I want to prepare you for what the body sensations are going to be like with this, right? Because that's really important too. I don't want you to get into that moment where, with this situation, where you're not expecting what's going to come your way. So by looking at 50,000 emails, what I also realized was those were 50,000 emails that were just sitting there. And so they're energy sparks is how I look at them. Energy sparks that could be transferred into another area of my life towards my health and fitness, where I could actually stay consistent with my workouts and continue that momentum, or in my relationships with friends at that time, like actually reaching out to friends and like letting them know, hey, I'm struggling right now. Like I want to connect. But those are energy sparks that are just sitting there. And that's what I want to remind you of is everything in your life for that clutter is an energy spark that isn't being able to be used in a way that can help you to move towards who it is you want to become, the vision you have for your life, right? It's just sitting there. It's an open loop. And there's a few things that go on when it comes to relating to burnout because of that. First is that it's a decision that you have to make every day, whether you realize it consciously. You're having to make a decision of putting this off, to not deal with those emails or not deal with the clutter, right? It's like, okay, I'm gonna push this off till tomorrow. And then it's like usually goes push it off for another day. Well, that's a decision you have to make. And so that is causing an increase of stress in the body because it's an open loop, right? It's like when it comes to chronic stress, it's like all these open loops of stress that aren't being able to be closed out for the body to recover. It's similar with all the stuff that's in our life. The reason why you may be feeling that overwhelm and that heavy energy, like heavy feeling, like a blanket is like over you and causing you to like not be able to really move forward in your life and you're feeling stuck. It's because of a few reasons. But one is that there is a fatigue and exhaustion that's being felt of always having to make these decisions. And again, it could be 50,000 decisions that you're choosing to push off for these emails, as one example for mine. So of course that's going to lead you to the first red flag of chronic exhaustion. And of course, if it keeps piling up and more emails keep coming in and you're just leaving there, of course it's eventually going to hit burnout. Like that can make sense, but we just don't realize that in the moment. And I want to tell you again, it's not your fault to be in that situation. Again, you picked it up from someone or from somewhere of just like, all right, I'm going to choose to let the emails go, right? Maybe it was the thought process of like, man, it's just, I'm wasting my time because I'm always going to keep getting emails. So I might as well just not do it and let them pile up. But again, it goes back to those energy sparks. That's really helpful to remember is that these are energy sparks that can be put in a different area of life. So what happened was I deleted all those emails, and what came up was both a terrifying feeling and then an exhilarating, so excited feeling. And I want to address both of those. Those are really important. The terrifying feeling was because all of a sudden I had all this open space. 50,000 emails gone. All of that energy came flooding back into my system is what I didn't really realize that until like reflecting years later, but it felt like this surge of energy through me. And then I was able, like, I remember, having my phone, recording this in the snow. I was walking the snow of like, oh my gosh, it feels so exciting. Yeah, I'm terrified because I have all this energy. And for the body, what is going on is that you're now creating a future. When you delete all those emails, you're creating a new future for yourself. And with anything new, it can create uncertainty. And for that body, that's where you can naturally feel the resistance, where I felt that pressure, the terrifying feeling, where it was like this intense pressure. It was really intense. I had to go outside, scream to let out the energy. I was just like, yeah, like as if I scored a touchdown or a goal. Like I was just letting out with excitement because I was at that high energy of excitement for possibilities now. But naturally the body is going to resist anything new because it's uncertainty, and that can be scary for the body, and the body wants to keep you safe. So I want to make sure you're aware of that if you choose the option to delete all the emails. A way you can easily do that is just type it into Google or ChatGPT to figure out how to delete the emails. It can be a super simple process. I did it on Gmail for mine. But what happens is by you opening up that space, what it represents for you is opening up room for new experiences and memories. Because there can be this fear that all of a sudden you're not going to have something to fill that space with. And so what I want to tell you is by you moving forward, and getting out of that stuck feeling with the amount of emails that you've got, it's going to then open up new experiences and memories for you to be able to make. And then a little bit later on, I'll share with you the habits of how you can sustain this to make sure that those emails just don't keep piling back up. So I'll get to that point. But what I want to remind you is the energy sparks. This stuff's energy sparks. And it goes to the next one, which is my contacts. So contact information, I collected a bunch of different contacts. Over the years, like I'm thinking about, you have like middle school friends, high school friends, and then you could have, business connections as well, family in there. But what I did for my contact info is I created a list where I looked at all the contacts on my phone and I just put that into like an Excel sheet. And then I asked myself who felt light to talk to, and then who felt heavy to talk to, or who do I not talk to anymore? And when it comes to the light and heavy feeling, what you can relate that to the body is noticing if you feel like an excitement, a draw, like almost drawing towards this person to want to connect, right? And it's literally your body could be moving physically towards the name if it's on a screen, towards the name. The heaviness is more of like a contracting feeling where you're moving away. It's that heaviness of like, oh, I don't want to really talk to this person, or like this was like an X, like I definitely got to delete this person. So this is how you can start to move through the clutter, is asking yourself, does this give me a light feeling, an exciting feeling? Or does this give me a heavy feeling of like, I just don't want to talk to this person? And if you're dealing with that with different contacts on your phone, that's where you can delete the contact. If it's with emails, if you chose option 2 to actually go through all the emails, that's where you can have that lightness and heaviness sensation and notice which emails to delete. And then I'll get into another way also to remember to start this process to make it even easier for you when it comes to deleting the emails or the contacts. And that goes to the photos and videos. So for me, with photos and videos, I had over 2,000 photos and videos, right? And actually, I didn't say this for my emails, but I'm going to go to my phone just so you know the difference here, to know it's possible. I want to say this to you so you know it's possible. I have for my photos right now, I have 26 photos and 8 videos on my phone. All right. And then in my emails, I have 3 emails. And I have I think 3 different email accounts. So I want to let you know it's possible. But the key is, again, to start at your pace, to start small if necessary, and then build from there for the momentum. This does take time, but the key is to get started. So with photos and videos, what I did was I ended up going through all of them, right? I don't want to mass delete those. So what I did was I did a run through and deleted the ones that I had a heavy feeling towards, that I did not want in my life. And when I did that, I just cleaned it all out. It was super easy because it was like, okay, I don't need this photo anymore. It doesn't serve me. And I deleted that. Then I did another run through where I deleted the neutrals, the one that really didn't give me an exciting feeling, really didn't lit me up. It was kind of just like there for a photo. I deleted those. And then what happened was, after that one, I then did a third run through for my photos and videos, where I then just kept the ones that were very light and exciting. And for that third one, that is where it's being ruthless with the excitement and the lightness. It's where you can feel it in your in your entire body of like, this is something I want to keep for a photo or a video. Because then all the other ones, there's going to be a lot that you can let go of and be able to say, I don't need this anymore. And what you could do, which is what I did, is like pick a specific amount of photos and videos that you would want to keep in a month. So each month you could say, okay, I want to make sure I have 7 photos and 10 videos. So that could be the way you want to do it. You could pick a different number, but whatever is going to keep you going with this momentum. And then what happens is that you can then move those photos and videos into like a cool way, a cool creative project. So what I did, just to share it with you, is like once I got those numbers down further, I then kept going with this process. So like I would do every month, I'd go back in, look at the photos and videos, determine if there's one I want to let go of that are neutrals, make sure that I keep cleaning these up every month. And I'll get into what you could set up for that. But what happened was then I took all those I take those videos and photos and I put them into like a website like Canva. If you're familiar with that, Canva, where I can create projects. And so what I did was for my life partner, like I took all of our photos together and I put that into like what's like a digital collage. And then all of a sudden I can delete all those photos because I can say, okay, this was the collage for like the past 2 years, and it's a gift that I can then give. And so it serves then a purpose, which is super cool. And then it becomes like an awesome way to give a gift to someone or to yourself. And then you can let go of those photos because you now have this project that you can hold on to, or this gift that you can hold on to be reminded of all those memories and those moments. And so that's how you can notice how this can get to the next level of the process of decluttering. Then when it comes to like clothes and school memories, this one was, I had a lot of this stuff. I went back to my parents' place, and in my room there's like a bunch of stuff from high school and middle school. Like there was these like past tests that I didn't really need. But again, going back to all this stuff is energy sparks that's just sitting there that could be used in some other way for your life. So what I would go through with my school memories, because that's where I really had a lot of connection, was back to, in middle school and high school, and, just being able to like have all those memories that come back flooding in. But that can cause me to stay stuck in the past. And so then I'm just overwhelmed with all this stuff and I'm not able to move forward in my life because I'm just stuck in just thinking about all the past stuff. So with school memories, what I did was I asked myself when I would look at something, did I care about this before seeing it? Right? That's a question you can ask yourself. Did you care about this before seeing it? If it's no, then you go down that process again of, does this make me feel light and excited to want to keep this? Maybe to show my future kids, or to be able to show my life partner. But do I get excited to want to share this? And if it's a heavy feeling, where you're like, I don't want this anymore, I didn't care about, and it's a no, you didn't care about this, then that's a moment to say, okay, let me let go of this. But then if you said no and you didn't care about it before seeing it, but then it still gives you that excitement and that light, and you're like, oh my gosh, I found this. It's like a treasure hunt. You're like, I found this. Then you can keep it. With my clothes, what happened was I would have these clothes like, I think of like jerseys, or these like sweaters they gave a certain memory. I think back to one where it was like the summer camp I went to, where they had this like alumni vest where it was like the Decade Club. And I mean, that's like super cool, right? Awesome to have this for like a decade of being at this camp. But really, I wasn't wearing this at all. And actually, when I saw it, I didn't care about it before seeing it. And then I didn't feel like this light excitement to like want to share this with anyone or wear it. I was just kind of like, this is just there. So then I thought to myself, okay, well, what I could do with this and other items of clothes, I could actually take a picture of it. That can be my memory, is to take a picture and to hold on to it that way, digitally. And then what happened over the years was I started to realize I don't need these photos anymore, because now that it's gone, I don't have as much of an attachment to it. And that became like my first step of starting to let go of this stuff, was being able to take the picture so that then I could donate it. And again, that's what's amazing with clothes, is like you could donate the clothes so that other people could use it, if it's just sitting there in the closet. And so I did that. And then having the photo was my way to like be able to let go of it. But then after the years, I like look back at the photo, I'm like, I don't really need this anymore, because I don't care about it. I didn't care about before seeing this. And I don't feel that excitement or that lightness. And so then I could delete the photo after a little while and then continue to live my life. So what I want to do now is recap it for you, okay, for this process. With any of these areas, what's most important is to ask yourself, did you care about this before seeing it? If the answer is yes, of course you keep it. If the answer is no, then you move on to the next level of question, which is, does this give me a light feeling or a heavy feeling? If it's that light one and that excitement and you want to like share this with someone, okay, keep it. If it's the heaviness, okay, then you can let it go. And then from there, it's remembering all this stuff in your life is energy sparks. So the more stuff that you could keep that's just sitting there is energy sparks that could be used in other ways for your life. So you really want to make sure that what you keep is getting you super excited and is really light throughout the entire body. It's that moment of like, hell yeah, like fuck yeah, I want to keep this. And you can be ruthless in that process. Now, what will come up from the body is natural resistance. There is going to be this natural resistance that comes up because you're creating new paths forward for your future. You're getting unstuck. And what will happen is that resistance from the body, it can be strong at different moments, and you can feel that intense pressure. What I want to remind you is that it is temporary. You're going to be able to move through that by making those decisions, choosing if you're going to keep it or if you're going to let it go. And what will happen is then you're going to create momentum for yourself, because you'll notice with the emails, the number lowering in the emails or the amount of stuff in your closet, having less stuff in your closet, less stuff around your house, less photos and videos on your phone. So you can actually see the photos and videos that you're taking, and actually be able to then make it into like a fun gift that you can give to someone. You're going to feel that momentum and that excitement and that open space, which then can help you with better decision making in your life. It'll help you with clarity as to how to move forward in the direction of your life and your vision. It's like getting above that fog and being able to see better how to move forward in your life towards the vision you have for your life and being able to create those better habits. And then how you can stick with this is being able to dedicate time. It could be your cleanup time, could be the word that you could use. It could be the start fresh time, but you can do this either at the beginning of the month, could be great, or at the end of the month, because those are some great great blocks to use. Or it could be at the beginning of the week, at the end of the week, or it could be the middle of the week. But choosing a time that you can dedicate towards the cleanup, towards the start fresh, and it could be 20 to 30 minutes of being able to open up these energy sparks. Right? Because that goes back to like, you're able to open up these energy sparks to be used in other ways. And that is going to be a great gift to give to yourself to help you to unlock your best year and to clear that clutter and to move with momentum in your life in the direction that you want to move into for that future. And remembering to start small in this process, right? It's not going to happen overnight either. So giving yourself realistically, it's going to take some time. But you can dedicate, to get started, you could dedicate a weekend to get started with this. You could dedicate one day to starting to delete the emails or the photos and videos or letting go of the clothes or school memories. But then from there, it's creating that dedicated routine of time to focus in on this as that habit. And what I want to let you know is that I believe in you. You're absolutely capable of being able to make this happen for your life. And you may be absolutely blown away as to what happens and super surprised with what happens as you move through this process, for the momentum it creates for you to move towards who it is you want to become and the vision you have for your life. You got this. If you like this episode, please don't forget to leave a rating or review for this podcast and help get this message out of Make Burnout Extinct. And you can share what resonates with you from this episode by connecting with me on Instagram or LinkedIn. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. I don't take that for granted ever. And I'm so excited to reconnect again soon.